In this digital world we're all swimming in, it feels like everyone's shouting for attention. Brands, businesses, creators, how do they actually cut through the noise?
Yeah.
It really does feel like a battle for eyeballs, doesn't it? So today, we're doing a deep dive into something behind the scenes, the content strategy platform market. Our mission really is to get a handle on its explosive growth and what that means for how you engage with digital stuff, maybe even how you create it. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is just the sheer scale of this market's expansion. It's really the engine driving a lot of this digital shift. I mean, we're talking a global market already worth over, $3.6 billion back in 2021.
Okay.
And it's projected to hit over $5.6 billion by 2025. But here's the real kicker. By 2033, the forecast is a staggering $13.3 billion.
$13 billion, wow.
Right. And that comes with a really strong compound annual growth rate, nearly 11.5%. Between 2025 and 2033. That's not just, steady growth. It's things fundamentally changing in how digital content works.
Yet that kind of scale, it's more than just significant. It feels like a fundamental shift in, how businesses have to approach digital outreach now.
Mm-hmm.
But where exactly is this content revolution hottest?
Geographically speaking, here's where it gets really interesting. The map tells a story. North America is clearly leading the charge. We're looking at that region growing from maybe $1.4 billion in 2021 to over $5.1 billion by 2033. Huge.
Huge numbers.
And inside North America, the United States is set to be like $3.9 billion of that.
Yeah.
Massive share. Even Canada showing really solid momentum, a 12.23% CAGR I saw.
That's right. Very strong. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, North America is dominant, but other places are really picking up speed too. Europe, for instance, is projected to hit over $3.7 billion by 2033.
Okay.
And Asia Pacific, not far behind, over $2.7 billion. In APAC, you've got the usual powerhouses, right?
Yeah.
China, Japan, India leading the way. And actually, India is the fastest growing within that region, about 13.17% CAGR.
Interesting.
But globally, the fastest growing region overall is Africa.
Yeah. It's predicted to grow at, get this, almost 16% CAGR, 15.73%. It's going from like $65 million in 2021 up to $350 million by 2033.
Wow.
So it really highlights this is a truly global adoption wave.
Okay, so given these immense figures, these global shifts, what's actually driving it all? It sounds like more than just platforms. It's a whole evolution in how content gets made and seen. And for you listening, this means the content you encounter is just getting, way more relevant, right?
Yeah.
It seems to be about the rise of data-driven content, moving past guesswork, using analytics to figure out what clicks before it's even made.
Exactly. Predictive power.
And then there's AI-powered personalization. That's huge. The content you see is increasingly tailored just for you. Headlines changing, images swapping out based on what you do online. It's almost
reading your mind. Yeah, it's getting sophisticated.
And finally, these cross-platform tools seem vital, making sure the message is consistent, whether you see it on Instagram or a website or in an email. It follows you seamlessly.
Right. And this raises an important question, which is, why are these platforms becoming just completely indispensable for businesses? It's because, let's face it, the digital space is incredibly saturated now. Just making stuff isn't enough anymore.
Right. Too much noise.
Exactly. So in this, content battlefield, these platforms aren't just tools. They're like the advanced command centers. They give businesses the tools to build real brand authority, not just chase likes. They offer analytics that show why something worked.
The why is key.
Absolutely. They drive genuine engagement, getting people to interact, not just scroll past. And crucially, they help optimize performance, making sure content actually hits its goals. It lets brands tweak and refine constantly. It's that feedback loop that was often missing before.
So the core takeaway here seems pretty clear. These content strategy platforms, they aren't some new software anymore. They're really a central pillar of the digital economy. Experiencing monumental growth, playing a critical role, it's fundamentally changing the game.
Absolutely. And I think the implication here is, strategic data-driven content isn't just nice to have. It's the absolute key for any company, any organization, anyone trying to thrive in this competitive world online. And maybe it challenges us, you listening, to think about how we see and interact with digital content from now on. Are you just consuming, or are you becoming maybe a more savvy consumer, or perhaps a more effective creator yourself in this whole evolving ecosystem? Something to think about.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're getting into something pretty crucial for businesses now, content strategy platforms.
Yeah, it's a rapidly changing space.
Absolutely. Our mission, drawing on the latest from cognitive market research, is to really unpack what's driving them, what's holding them back, and where they're headed.
Mhm.
We want to figure out how companies are actually planning, managing, and getting their digital content out there effectively.
It's more complex than ever.
It really is. So think of this as your essential guide, maybe a shortcut to understanding this whole landscape.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's unpack this then. What's really igniting the content strategy platform market right now? What's giving it all this momentum?
Well, there are, I'd say, three big forces really pushing things forward. First, it's just this huge growing demand for consistent content, and not just consistent, but personalized.
Right, everywhere. Websites, apps.
Exactly. Social, email, you name it. A central platform isn't really a nice to have anymore. It's kind of essential to deliver that tailored experience without, driving your teams crazy.
Makes sense. Keeps it all together. What's number two?
Second is definitely the rise of AI and automation. It's a massive accelerant.
Ah, AI, of course.
Yeah. These platforms are building in smart tools. They analyze performance, suggest ideas, automate publishing. It's about shifting effort, you know? Less grunt work, more strategy.
Freeing up teams for the bigger picture stuff.
Precisely. Imagine cutting down the tedious tasks significantly, letting people focus on innovation. That's the promise.
Okay, and the third driver?
And third, it's really about strategic alignment. Finally getting everyone on the same page.
Connecting the dots.
Exactly. Connecting marketing, SEO, sales. These platforms act as that unified hub. So you get data-backed campaigns, better visibility, better leads, and ultimately more loyalty.
That alignment piece feels critical, especially with how siloed things can get in organization.
Yeah.
But, okay, with all that potential, it sounds great, but it can't all be smooth sailing, right? What are the barriers? What's holding back wider adoption?
Yeah, that's a really important point. It's not always simple. One major restraint is just the cost and the complexity of integration.
Expensive.
Enterprise-level platforms, yeah, they can be. And it's not just the subscription. You've got to integrate them with your CRM, your CMS analytics.
What a big technical lift.
It can be, especially for smaller teams. Building that whole connected ecosystem, that takes resources, both financial and technical. It's a steep climb sometimes.
Right. What else?
Another big one is the skills gap. There's a shortage of people who really know how to use these tools to their full potential.
You mean having the platform isn't enough?
Exactly. You need experienced strategists, savvy marketers who can actually handle things like content mapping, persona targeting, digging into the campaign analytics.
It's like having a race car.
But no one trained to drive it properly on the track?
Yeah.
You won't get the performance you paid for?
Okay, that makes sense. And the last hurdle.
And lastly, it's often internal stuff. Content silos, inconsistent processes.
Yeah.
We've all seen it, right?
Oh, yeah. Marketing does one thing, sales does another.
Precisely. Or support doesn't know about the latest update. Even with the best tool, if your workflows aren't cohesive, if there isn't a shared vision, you get duplicated effort, mixed messages, it just doesn't work as well.
So the tech is there, but the people and process parts really need to catch up.
That's often the case.
So looking past those challenges then, where does this all go next? What are the key trends? Where are these platforms heading?
Well, looking ahead, there's a really clear shift towards genuinely data-driven, audience-first strategies.
Less guesswork.
Way less guesswork. Brands are using real-time engagement data to actually guide their content plans. It's about what the audience needs and responds to, not just what the brand wants to push out. That's a big change.
A shift in focus.
Okay.
What else is emerging?
We're also seeing a big move toward modular content, reusable frameworks.
Like building blocks.
Exactly like building blocks. Breaking content into smaller, independent pieces you can mix, match, and repurpose across different channels, different stages of the buyer journey. It makes scaling easier, keeps things agile.
More flexible. I like that.
It's essential for speed today. And speaking of speed, generative AI, it's really transforming the ideation part.
Right. AI again? How's it helping here?
Well, platforms now offer AI-assisted briefs, headlines, outlines, some even draft initial content. It dramatically speeds up the whole cycle.
Wow.
Yeah, and helps content stay adaptive, responding to market trends almost in real time. It's a genuine game changer for speed and relevance.
To bring all this together, what's the big picture takeaway?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, content strategy platforms, they aren't really optional anymore, are they? They're becoming absolutely core to how brands succeed online, sort of the central nervous system for digital communication.
The central nervous system. I like that. Okay, so considering all these shifts we've talked about, the power, the challenges, the AI, the future trends. Here's something for you, our listener, to think about.
Mhm.
How might your own approach, whether you're creating content or even just consuming it, need to evolve to really harness what these new platforms and approaches can do?